What I can say is that with this plea, we know that Mr. Anderson will not be harming other members of our community.
Tonight, justice for several Portland women and girls after an accused serial rapist pleaded guilty in court today. But some are raising questions on why the man was able to get away for nearly 2 years. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Barry Mangold. A lot to get to tonight. According to Portland police, the suspect met most of his victims through social media before attacking them at gunpoint. KG's Victor Park is live downtown in Portland for us. And Victor, at least one of the victims we know was just 13 years old.
Yeah, Barry. Hey, good evening. And investigators say Damani Jazz Anderson preyed on 4 girls and 1 woman all throughout the last couple of years. Here it is. It is the moment victims and their families have been waiting for. Damani Jazz Anderson pleaded guilty to rape, kidnapping, and weapons charges on Friday.
I'm so thankful that we were able to get this resolution for the victims and to avoid a trial so that they didn't have to relive that immense trauma that they suffered.
District Attorney Nathan Vasquez says the crimes began in 2023 when Anderson was 16 years old. Police say he met most of his victims through social media apps and on one occasion, a dating app. He lured some of them to remote areas where he pulled out a gun and then raped them. As to why wasn't this terrible behavior interrupted sooner, especially after Gresham police allegedly were made aware, Vasquez responded.
There was one victim in particular that came forward and escaped Mr. Anderson that really kind of brought this case forward, and when law enforcement was able to kind of piece it all together, there were some immediate actions taken.
Police warn dating app users to always have first-time meetings in a public place. Tell friends or family where you're going, and be sure your cell phone is fully charged. Anderson's crimes also puts the spotlight on the dangers of social media and renewed calls for companies to better protect children. For now, Vasquez says the victim's courage to come forward has saved many others.
This is a tragic situation, and they're 100% correct. You need to be aware of how crazy some people can be. But let's keep going.
Will help ensure that for decades and decades that there won't be other victims of Mr. Anderson.
The crazy situation. Let's go to the next video and see if they tell us anything different.
First at 5, a 19-year-old man convicted of kidnapping and raping multiple women with the aid of social media and dating apps was sentenced to prison.
Fox 12's McKenna Marks was in the courtroom and joins us live after speaking with the prosecutor on this case. McKenna, what did she tell you?
Yeah, Pete, Nora, well, Damani Anderson was sentenced to 45 years in prison today. Now, before the judge handed out his sentence, the court also heard from multiple victims. And like you said, I was able to speak to the prosecutor on this case, and she tells me if it wasn't for the bravery of these victims, Anderson likely wouldn't have received such a lengthy sentence.
You're going to prison for a very long time.
Over a year and a half after he was arrested on rape and kidnapping charges, 19-year-old Damani Anderson was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Anderson was arrested in August of 2024, and the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office says multiple adult and juvenile women, including a 13-year-old, came forward.
We shouldn't let ourselves get too far removed from the fact that these are real things that happen to real people. And this case begs for that reminder. That very real, very terrifying things happen to very young people at the hands of Damani Anderson.
Police say Anderson would find his victims on social media or dating apps and convince them to meet him in a secluded area. Then, police say Anderson would hold his victims at gunpoint before assaulting them.
I am so sorry this happened to you.
Prosecutor Robin Skarsdad says it's because of the victims that came forward that the Portland community is now a little safer.
Because this was an individual who was on a path of reoffending. To my assessment, his attacks were getting more violent, and the fact that they were willing to come forward at great personal cost to themselves to keep the rest of the community safe is really meaningful.
Anderson was facing more than 40 charges connected to 5 different rape cases. Last week, he pleaded guilty to 12 charges.
As to count 1, then, in case number 24 CR 41664, which charges you with the crime of rape in the first degree with a firearm, How do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
As to count 4, then, in the same case, which charges you with the crime of kidnapping in the first degree with a firearm, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
In court on Thursday, many of Anderson's victims shared their impact statements with the judge, detailing how their lives have changed since they were attacked, including one of the victims' mothers.
This is not something that heals. It is not something that fades with time. This damage and the discomfort she will always feel will move into every relationship we will ever have.
And Skarstad says it's thanks to the victims who came forward that justice was served.
These victims who came today to send that message about this is what coming forward looks like, that you can get justice, if not relief, is a message that I hope will encourage others to do that and continue to make our environment safer.
Anderson was also required to register as a sex offender and also received a sentence of 20 years of post-prison supervision. Reporting live from downtown Portland, McKenna Marks, Fox 12 Oregon.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. 45 years. He's 19 years old, so he'll get out at 64. I can't remember. We'll look at the AI breakdown to see if he has any, parole. If he can get out on parole. But then after he gets out, he has to do 20 years. 20 years of supervised probation. So let's get over into the AI breakdown to see if we missed anything or just any more information on this whole horrible case. So as we know, Anderson, 19-year-old, a serial rapist from Portland, was sentenced to 45 years for a series of violent rapes from February 2023 to August 2024. He pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree rape, along with multiple counts of kidnapping, unlawful use of a firearm, robbery, and attempted rape. He targeted 5 young women and girls, ranging in age from 13 to 19. He often used social media dating apps like Snapchat and Tinder to lure victims to secluded areas, such as industrial sites or parks, where he would terrorize them at gunpoint. Teach your daughters to be smart, because you can't control everywhere they go. You can try to, but they will sneak out. But you have to teach them to be smart. Why are you meeting a random man you've never met before at an industrial site, at a place where there's no one around? Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going. So apprehension. He was arrested in August 2024 after an 18-year-old victim managed to escape from an abandoned warehouse in North Portland and seeks help from the neighbors. Following his arrest, and the release of his photo, 4 additional survivors came forward. And then they delivered a 45-year sentence on this whole thing. There are some evil people in this world. There are some demons in this world. I've said this several times. But luckily, one of them came forward and set this all into motion, because that is the main thing we need to tell young women and people, anybody who's a victim of crime, come forward so that something can be done. Because we need to get these people off the street. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy.